40. This is the one, folks. We are 40 episodes in, and we are in the series that shall not be named. We're talking about Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire today, the fourth installment in the 8-part Harry Potter, but the 10-part series that we're doing because we're getting fantastic with those beasts as well as getting Harry with the Potter. This is it, folks. This is Goblet of Fire.
Yeah.
It's not really this is it. There's plenty more movies to go.
This is us.
This is Us, which is a series of movies. It's a series of TV show. It's a series of TV show. I was trying to turn off the click because I was very confused because this was peaking. And I was like, but none of us are peaking. Why does it say that? So we're all good. The year is 2005. A movie hits theaters November 6th.
Wow, right after November 5th. Remember.
Oh, yeah. We were remembering, and then bam, this movie came out the next day, and it's Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
Well, tell me how well it did. Just jump into that right out of the gate.
Okay, well, domestically, the movie makes $290 million, $13,036. Worldwide, it makes $895 million, $921,036.
What's the budget?
$150 million.
Dang, what a profit.
It is kind of nuts that these movies, like, so far these first four have all stayed around. It was like 130, 100, 130, and 150.
Yeah.
They're not really making large leaps.
But they are getting bigger.
Yeah.
You know?
But, I mean, this one looks the worst of the first four, so...
Yeah.
And it has the biggest budget, so the budget doesn't always do it for you. It doesn't look bad, though, I don't think. We were
watching a DVD,
eh.
so I think that was part of it.
Yes.
Watching a DVD and not Blu-ray.
Totally.
So I think that takes a lot of the contrast out of it, because there just was, like, no true black.
Yeah.
Like, throughout the movie. And I think that's a DVD issue. I hope it's a DVD issue.
Yeah, and you're really letting them in, because sometimes, folks, this isn't an unlimited budgeted show. If we lived in a world where we had, I don't know, maybe even like 20 patrons, then we could probably guarantee that we do Blu-ray or highest quality, but we can't always guarantee that, folks. So you got to tell your friends to get on patreon.com/MicahMcCaw, support the podcast, support the music, and come to my release show, which is going to be March 13th, where Imbalances is going to come out.
You can get some of my artwork there.
You can get artwork. It's all there. It's there,
Not only on the
folks.
Patreon, but at the show.
At the show, yes, because we're going to have buttons. We're going to have little skull buttons that will be sent to patrons. Patrons are going to get the buttons. But if you're just a listener and you're still waiting to pull the trigger on the Patreon, we are not going to... Like you can come to the show and get these buttons.
And there will probably be postcards.
Yeah, maybe. I shouldn't look at you like that. That's just up to you. As long as you get it done, then there'll be postcards.
Done.
There we go.
Okay.
Here's something. Should we do? I want, because I was gonna say Olympics. The Olympics to me are coming up. The Oscars. Should we do like a bonus Patreon only episode?
Sure.
About the Oscars? Should we do it pre or post? Like, should we talk about what happened at the Oscars and be like, this is what we think about it, or should we do a pre, like, this is who I want to win, this is who should have won?
Let's do pre.
Do pre.
Because I think that by the time they're over and how disappointed I'm probably going to be,
yeah,
I just don't want to talk about it.
And we'll just make it it'll be a fast episode. We'll try and make it like somewhere in the like 20 to 30 minute range, maybe. So that's going to be our first Patreon only episode. So if you don't have Patreon, you're not going to get the episode.
Whoops.
Uh-oh. That's called incentive, baby. Okay. So back into the movie. This one is directed by Mike Newell. So he is now the
Donnie Brasco
third director to jump into this series.
Yeah.
3 of 4 total in the entire series, because David Yates is this on out.
Yeah.
And he does a fantastic piece too. So but Mike Newell, yes, he did 4 Weddings and a Funeral, Donnie Brasco, a bunch of Adventures of Young Indiana Jones, like TV movies and TV show.
Never even heard of it. Who plays Indy?
I don't know. I didn't really look it up. I just remember that movie. Those like like movies that they made and TV shows and stuff, I have like a pretty vivid remembering of going to Blockbuster and seeing them and like always wondering if I should pull the trigger on those.
I'll just look it up. What's it called?
The Adventures of Young Indiana Jones. Because if you listen to this podcast, you know I'm a bit of a completionist. I've gotten much better at it because for example, like Marvel, I've watched all the movies, but I'm not willing to jump into the TV shows. I might into the Disney Plus shows, but not on. I just am not ready to jump into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or Agent Carter or Peggy Carter or whatever, because they don't look that great to me. So I've gotten better at that.
Lucasfilm is part of.
Yeah, they produced it. I just moved that because you were you weren't directly into the mic, but yeah. Anyway, when I was at Blockbuster, I would always look at that, and that was when I was even more OCD, and it was like, do I need to have watched this so I know the complete adventures of Indiana Jones? But I never pulled the trigger. I never did.
That would have been 17 episodes.
17. Oh, I could have done that. Okay, I'm gonna keep going though. Are you with me or are you against me?
I'm with you.
Okay. So then he also directed a movie called Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. And you want to know what he directed right after that movie? It has one of your okay, let's see if you can guess it. It has your favorite actor in it. We've done a whole episode where we talked about him for about 45 minutes, and then we talked about Spider-Man.
Jake Gyllenhaal?
It's got Jake Gyllenhaal in it. Infamously bad movie that he stars in.
Oh, Bubble Boy?
No.
Oh.
This is after Harry Potter. So this is kind of like, if you're looking at his career, this is probably like his last
movie.
This is probably like his last like bad movie, quote unquote.
Is it a quote unquote funny movie?
No, it's an adventure movie.
Adventure.
Yeah.
Have I seen it?
No, it's based on a video game.
Have I ever heard of it?
Oh, you've heard of it. We bring it up actually more than you would think. You and I, like, we'll just joke about it. It would probably be a great bad movie night. It's about it takes place, I think, in the Middle East.
Oh, Prince of Persia.
Yep.
Oh, he did Prince of Persia?
Yeah, he directed
I've seen that movie.
Oh, you have seen it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
I got a
that.
fight. I got into an argument with Cassie because we did this thing where we called dibs on guys. And mine was Christian Bale. Surprised.
Yeah.
And saw that movie and I was like, oh my gosh, that's my guy. That's got to be my new guy. But she had already called dibs. And I was like, I'll give you Christian Bale for him.
Yeah.
Christian Bale.
Yeah, you gave up.
I don't know if I got him.
Yeah.
But I was getting a little mad about it.
Well, Cassie, hopefully you're listening. I think has she listened to a couple?
I think her sister does.
Okay, well, find out if she ever gave up Jake Gyllenhaal. Okay, so composer is Patrick Doyle, and you had said when we saw the name, I remember you said,
haven't we covered him?
Haven't we covered him? And the answer is yes. He's a frequent collaborator with Kenneth Branagh, and he did Thor and Murder on the Orient Express and Cinderella, the Kenneth Branagh movie.
He had a Danny Elfman vibe in this movie.
He very much did. If I had to like blindfold my eyes, I don't know how that has to do with the music. I'd still hear the music. I just, without knowing it, I would have guessed that Danny Elfman did this score for this movie.
Yeah.
And then he also did Brave, so that's cool. And then Roger Pratt is the cinematographer, and we've covered him too just 2 episodes ago. He did the cinematography for so far the best Harry Potter movie, Chamber of Secrets. And then this movie was nominated for art direction. It did not win. And then it was produced by Warner Brothers and Heyday Films. This is the first time that we don't have Chris Columbus.
Christopher Columbus.
Chris Columbus producing. And it's distributed by Warner Brothers. And now let's jump into the notes that I have collected. Just as a Death Eater collects the blood of Harry Potter to bring back Voldemort, even though, well, he's not a Death Eater. Caught myself.
Who?
Peter Pettigrew.
He is.
Oh, he is a Death Eater?
He had the thing on his arm.
Wait, what is a Death Eater then? Again, I'm so confused.
We'll get
Oh,
to
no,
it.
they're just like the clan that wants to bring him back, right?
Yes, they're his followers,
Okay.
his supporters.
Okay.
They're the
Yeah.
Nazis.
Yeah. I know. Anything evil in fantasy, Nazis. Okay. So Cuarón didn't direct this movie because he didn't feel comfortable with the schedule lining up with finishing Azkaban and starting the production of this movie.
Oh, like giving enough attention to pre-production
So
stuff,
he didn't do
probably.
it. And then I guess that David Heyman, the producer of all of these movies, was like, hey, let's get a hold of Mike Newell, who he had actually offered the first movie to originally.
Oh, wow.
He was one of several, but I think he may have been like the first guy.
Yeah.
And then Kloves, the screenwriter, which I don't think I wrote down because he wrote all of the movies. He originally, like, as they were getting ready to do the movie, he just kept being like, this is going to have to be 2 movies because he's reading the book, but he could not like crack splitting it into 2 where it like emotionally made sense. So he was just like, not going to do it.
Like, you probably know this too, even though you haven't read it, but like first 3 books, they do get a little bit bigger than the other, a little bit. This book is ginormous.
It's like 636
compared to the other books. And then they only get bigger from here.
Totally. So he was a little concerned about that aspect of it. And then, just so that we have a timeline here, when they began filming, which they began filming in 2004, The Order of the Phoenix had been released. And then by the time this movie comes out, Half-Blood Prince will have been released. So that's where we're at. I think by the time they make the next movie, pretty sure that's all the books are out.
Okay.
By the time the next one. But I'll double check that. And then, as we've done on each of these, we have the Roger Ebert corner. So he gave this movie 3.5 stars. So none of them he's given less than 3.5. Pretty good.
I thought he gave the last one 3.
No, it's 3.5 out of 4.
Okay.
Yeah. And he said this: with this 4th film, the Harry Potter saga demonstrates more than ever the resiliency of J.K. Rowling's original invention. Her novels have created a world that can expand indefinitely and produce new characters without limit. That there are schools like Hogwarts in other countries comes as news and offers many possibilities. The only barrier to this series lasting forever is Harry's inexorably advancing age. The thoughts of him returning to Hogwarts for Old Boy's Day is too depressing to contemplate.
Yeah. Word.
Which is sort of funny because people talk about how bad the Cursed Child is, and that's about Harry Potter when he's older.
Yeah.
So he had a point there, I think. And then I am so excited to share this with you. I'm sure you looked it up at some point, but this is an oh man moment. This is crazy.
Prove it.
There is a band in the movie.
Did you get what the band's name is called?
The Weird Sisters.
Yeah.
And there is a band.
They're not Twisted Sister, is it?
No. There's a band in Canada called the Weird Sisters. Like, they were like a rock band. And
pre this?
Yeah, they sued the movie before it came out because they heard about it or something. I don't know if it had something to do maybe more with the book. I don't know if they're specified in the book as that. But
there's a name. I don't know why they would change it.
Yeah.
So it probably is.
Kind of funny, though, because they sued the movie and they tried to prevent it from being released. Because they were like, people are going to think we named ourselves after this movie, but we came out before that.
Yeah.
And it sounds like everything I read, the court was just like, no, this is kind of stupid. Like, no, sorry, you don't have anything. And then I think they wound up settling out of court.
Yeah.
But it looked like the band was like fined for like suing. They totally lost, which kind of cracks me up.
Yeah.
But the members of the Weird Sisters are 4 very, very famous people. I'm not as familiar with 2 of them.
Collectively or separately? You know what I mean?
You'll see.
Okay.
So 2 of the members are members of a band called Pulp, Jarvis Cocker and Steve Mackey. And then 2 of them are members of arguably the greatest band ever, the Beatles. No. It's John McCartney and Paul Lennon.
Oh my gosh.
No, it is Radiohead's Johnny Greenwood and Phil Selway. And when
I'm assuming Phil's from Radiohead.
Yeah, he's the drummer.
Okay.
And when you look at the picture, you can totally see that that's Johnny Greenwood. I'm kind of surprised we didn't catch that.
I'm not super familiar with how he looks. That is bonkers, buddy. That's crazy.
Isn't that awesome? I just am kind of shocked that. Radiohead's like
you
so
didn't have
out
to
there
go
for me
to Radiohead's new public library to find this out? Wouldn't that be hilarious if this was your first use of the Radiohead public library?
Which
like
came out today,
you were like, oh, let's just peruse this and see what's going on, and that's what you found.
Yeah,
that'd be crazy. Crazy still though. Wow.
Yeah. So
how random? Why?
I mean, well, you'd think they think. I mean, I don't know if Pulp. I don't know who Pulp is. Forgive me for that, people. But I think that it makes sense that they would just choose like famous British rock people.
That makes sense, but I'm also thinking like, could they have saved money? Not doing that, and because they're wearing makeup anyway.
Sure.
I mean, people are like, no, you got to do the real thing. It's so much better. Which is like, yeah, it is better.
Well, that's why this movie went from a $130 million budget to a $150.
That's crazy. They paid them $10 million.
They each got paid $5.
Wow. Didn't know that. So I guess I just didn't know that.
Yeah. So I kind of, I guess I did kind of
That's your one thing for this entire series. That's your nugget of truth.
Yeah. So now you take it away with the cast of the movie. Are you ready?
We're going to start with Victor Crumb from Durmstrang that competes in the Goblet of Fire. It is Stanislav Yanevsky. Not bad. He is from Bulgaria. He gets buffer as he ages. He was also around 20 when this movie came out, which means he was probably 19 or 18 when they were filming.
Uh-huh.
And we looked up, Emma Watson was probably 13 or 14 when they were filming. So not that weird, but he just looks so old. We're like, what if this was a 30-year-old man?
Yeah, he does, to me, he looks like he's about 30, 32. And then once we're at the end of the movie, he finally looks kind of like a kid. For some reason, he gets less and less on his age.
But then when you look at his
on,
IMDb picture, it's like, oh, he did have more growing to do.
Yeah.
He's got big arms.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
I know I didn't mention any other movie he's in. I don't think this guy speaks English. So therefore, I don't think he looks like he's in things that are foreign.
Okay.
The one, if you think about it, I'm pretty sure he only had one line in that whole movie. When they're in the tent at the beginning of the first one, he's like, you could not be in here. This is for the contestants or whatever he says. And it's like, wow. I don't think he's making that accent up. That's a really thick accent. So there's him. And then, sorry, I'm just scrolling. Oh yeah. So we have Roger Lloyd Pack, who plays Barty Crouch, the guy with the Hitler mustache.
Oh, sure.
He is in Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Wait, he's not the dad in Inception, is he?
No.
He's not?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know I forget what that guy's name is, but it's not this guy.
Okay.
He is in Law and Order United Kingdom.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait, stop the presses. They have a Law and Order United Kingdom?
From 2009 to 2014. I guess the UK was like, enough is enough.
Okay, keep talking. I have to look up everything about this.
No, do it later, Micah.
No, I just need to know how many Law and Orders there are now, because I didn't know they went to international borders.
Okay, well, yeah, he's in that. And then a lot of British productions and some like Doctor Who. And then, sorry, my phone is being a little weird. Okay. Then we have Katie Leung, who plays Cho Chang.
Okay.
She is in, I believe, all the Harry Potter movies henceforth from this one. She's also, that show is adorable looking. She plays voice acting in this thing. It looks really cute. Does a lot of TV stuff. She was in The Foreigner with Jackie Chan.
Oh yeah, we need to watch that.
Yeah, we do. And similar things, British stuff. Actually looks like Harry Potter was her first role.
Oh, okay.
Did you look up at how many girls auditioned for that role?
No.
Okay, well, we'll look it up and get back to you on the next ep. Because I've heard before that hundreds of girls auditioned for this role because they knew they would get to kiss Harry.
Okay, I'm looking it up. You keep going.
And then we have, sorry, Clemence Possy, and I'm pronouncing it incorrectly because she is definitely French. She plays Fleur de Coeur. She is in Burgess with Colin Firth.
Okay.
Don't remember her in that movie. She's in Final Portrait, which a movie wasn't.
I don't know how to find that fact.
I heard that movie was good. I think we can just look that up in the trivia. I bet that's where I found it.
I just don't trust IMDb trivia anymore.
She's in 127 Hours.
Oh, okay. She's probably one of their hiker friends.
Yeah. That is about it. I mean, she's in a lot of French
Who
stuff.
are you talking about again?
Fleur de Clore.
That was the
girl contestant.
yeah. Okay.
And then we have Predrag Bjelak, who plays Igor Karkarov,
Okay.
who is from Yugoslavia. That is an intense looking dude. He's in Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian style, and other stuff. I'm just hitting the highlights, people. There's too many people.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's go back to the top two. David Tennant as most people know as one of the doctors. He's also the bad guy in Jessica.
Wait, who?
Doctor Who? Oh.
Yeah, gotcha.
Also plays the bad guy in Jessica Jones. Probably the best part of that whole show. He's wonderful.
Yeah, the first season he is what you can refer to as Purple Man, and he is incredible.
Kilgrave is also his name. He is in also Good Omens, which if anyone who listens to this podcast watches this show, I would be interested to know if it's good or not. It's got a great cast. Frances McDormand's in it.
Francis, they got the McD
and John Hamm. Oh, okay. Don't tell me. I'll watch it. He is also in so many things because it's David Tennant. He's in How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World, Mary Queen of Scots, Bad Samaritan.
What is this before or after he was the Doctor
after.
Who? The Goblet of Fire.
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, let's see. Okay, Goblet of Fire is 2005.
Mm-hmm. I know. I told you all the dates about it.
How do you look that up?
Why don't I do it and you can keep going?
Okay, because that's a hard one to look up.
It's so easy. I got it.
Okay, and then save the best for last. Robert Pattinson, who plays Cedric Diggory. Okay.
And, here's a little hint for folks. Okay.
No, don't do that. It's way too big.
Okay, I won't do that.
So Robert Pattinson, he's pretty young in this movie. This is his third acting role.
So
that's crazy. I didn't know that.
He became a doctor in 2005 as well.
Oh.
So he got his MD in Who.
Good for him. In Who?
Who?
Okay. Who's on first?
Whoville.
Okay. So his first thing ever is Vanity Fair, starring Reese Witherspoon. Yo.
Ooh, let's skip that one.
This does not look good. Does not look like a good production at all.
Just
Gross.
get him to
that guy's in
Goblet.
it.
Just get him to Goblet.
Ugh.
Don't go past.
And then he's in Curse of the Ring in 2004.
Is that like part of the Ring series? Does it look like, or like the Ring being the
scary movie?
Yeah.
No, this is like fantasy, high fantasy.
Oh wow.
And then
None of that
2005, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
That's his third movie.
Yeah.
There's nothing else.
No.
Whoa.
And he's even uncredited in Vanity Fair. How can you uncredit a face like that? How can you uncredit hair like that? So I'm not going to go past that.
Okay, cool.
Because I'm sure we'll cover him in other series. So it's just like, save him.
Well, since he's going to be the new Batman, whenever we do DC.
Yeah. So
we'll definitely have to
the
cover
thing is,
him.
with us spending like 40 minutes on Jake Gyllenhaal, that guy's not in very many franchises. If any, maybe.
True.
So you have to spend 40 minutes on him if you know that's all you're going to get.
True.
That's what she said.
Get out of here.
Okay.
It's not that kind of show.
Jump into the movie.
Okay. Why don't you tell us how it starts?
It begins with an old man in the dark putting some tea kettle on a stove, and he looks out the window and sees this mansion. There's a light on, and he's like, "Oh, meddling kids." And he has to walk all the way up to this house, see who's inside, messing around in this house that no one's supposed to be in.
And the snake has gone up there the whole way as well.
He hears voices, and sorry, burping, shocker. He hears voices. He kind of peeks through an open doorway. He sees a man, two men standing, talking to another man sitting in a chair.
Uh-huh.
And Nagini, the snake, slithers past him, and then
he's got a nice reaction to that snake when he sees it. He's doing a good job of like, I'm trying to be quiet, but I'm also so scared that a snake just went by me.
Yeah,
a very large
snake. See,
this
is why I think the DVD probably was pretty bad for us, because it was supposed to be only his flashlight lighting it, and the stuff that was in complete darkness looked blue and not great. And I just want to know if that is the DVD.
I think that was probably what it was.
Oh, doesn't look great. But
No, it
is,
didn't look like the hallway in Azkaban when
Yeah.
like him and
Yeah.
Snape are talking, and it's just like their light, and then it's black around them. It definitely wasn't that.
I think that though, like regardless of however the scene looks, it is supposed to feel a little like confusing, disorienting.
Yeah.
Because Harry wakes up and it was a dream that he had.
And here's something that's very nice: no privet drive.
No, he's in the Weasley's house.
Yeah, he's at the Weasleys, and this whole beginning the sequence, it's kind of cool that in this movie it begins with Voldemort. I mean, he who shall not be named, and then it ends like the conclusion is more about he who shall not be named until it's like the epilogue kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it kind of is it's kind of setting you up for the return, which is
Plus
very cool.
the first thing you see is the gravestone.
Yeah.
And it's like a Grim Reaper. I mean, it just looks cool, but it's actually foreshadowing the climax of the movie.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah, so they wake up. Hermione wakes Ron and Harry up.
And I just want to say the little he who shall not be named baby is pretty weird looking, and I like that a lot. I like how it looks. Very cool.
We see him in other movies too. So
the baby,
the little gross thing. Yeah.
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah, you see him another time.
Oh,
and it's really gross, Micah.
Good. I can't wait.
Okay, so they're being whisked away. Harry's being whisked away by the Weasleys and Hermione, and they're like, "Where are we going? It's so early. I'm a teenager and I need sleep." And they run into the Diggories, Cedric and Amos Diggory.
Yeah.
And they are taken to a boot on top of a hill, and you find out it's a port key. And when everyone grabs onto it, you are transported to another area.
Yeah.
So they're so this is like
I love the hilarious like. The Diggories and the like older Weasleys look
Arthur
so
Weasley.
goofy when everyone like just falls into the grass and then they like are walking on
They're
the
like,
air.
yeah, so they go to like the World Cup of Quidditch.
And that's our
Olympics of Quidditch.
podcast. Thank you for listening.
They present one of the coolest magical things that I just wish with every fiber of my being was real. When they go into the tent, and this tiny little tent, and it's just like rooms of a tent, and it's all beautifully decorated, and like there's a full kitchen in there.
Yes, and I want to make a small little thing about this. This made me think. Harry Potter, the series. That's what we're talking about. What I love, one like detail of the series that I really, really love, that when it's not done as much, I think I shy a little bit away from, but I love the simplicity magic. Mm-hmm. And so things like the tent, that is kind of like a highlight of like magical. That's probably like the highlight of the magical things that happen in this movie because it's so simple,
and it's
practical,
so ordinary,
and it's so
everyday
easy to
kind
see.
of thing.
Whereas like a lot of the other magic, I can't even really think of too much of like the wonder of magic in this movie.
Okay.
It's more like action based, and I understand that.
Yeah.
But that's why I like Chamber so much. Is it's like very simple things are happening, and it makes you Steven Spielberg like, oh, I'm in awe of what's happening.
Yeah.
And this is one of those little moments where you're like, what?
Yeah.
There's a tent in here? Like, well, I like a house in the tent, basically.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100% about everything you said.
And that's why I think my pitch for the TV series when we get to Fantastic Beasts is a better
But
pitch.
we're not going to talk about that right now.
But not yet.
So they go to the Quidditch match, and it is, I think it's Bulgaria against Ireland.
Okay.
Bulgaria or a different country that starts with a B that's in Eastern Europe.
Okay.
And we were introduced to Victor Crumb, who is like the best seeker in the world. And then you see that the Weasleys, including Harry and Hermione, are all in the nosebleeds because they're poor, but still it's like, what a cool thing. Like they don't see it that way until they run into the Malfoys, who are invited to the box where the Minister of Magic has invited them. Another cool thing that might go into that wonder part of it is how they project their voice by touching their wand to their throat, and that's it. I love that touch. And just really appreciative that they did not show the game.
Yeah, which I read that was part of a timing sort of thing.
Cool.
They just
that
had
makes so much sense.
But I think they filmed some stuff.
Yeah.
And then they had to
Well, it
cut
makes sense to just do it, just to have it.
Yeah.
That way you have it. So then it just cuts right back to them at the tent. They're having such a grand old time.
And then they're
freaking
attacked.
out. And then, they start hearing some screaming and shouting and outside. And you see that basically a terrorist attack is going on.
Yeah.
And Mr. Weasley tells Fred and George that Ginny is your responsibility. Harry, Ron, and Hermione, everyone get to the forest. I think that's what he says. Or just get away from here. And he goes and probably to fight. And Harry quickly gets separated.
Yeah.
And
he sees David Tennant walking around in like the shattered ruins. And then we meet like the magic people who are like hunting, like they're like detectives basically.
They're like ministry people. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's some Aurors, which this is the movie when we were first introduced into what an Auror is.
Yes.
Which is someone who, it's like a detective investigating dark magic and cracks down on dark magic. So Aurors like actively seek out Death Eaters, especially since they are back. Because you see that they put a Death Eater call up in the sky, and that's like, they're back. Kind of thing.
Okay.
And that's what an Auror does. And that's what you find out later on when we're introduced to Mad-Eye Moody. He was an Auror. And that's why he's so messed up. Because of all the stuff he's seen and been through. Like a detective.
Okay.
And then this, I can't remember if it's this movie or maybe the next one. When I know for sure the next book, they really get into how tests are important to place what kind of job you'll probably get when you graduate.
What is this, Divergent?
Yeah. And Harry and Ron aspire to be Aurors.
Oh, okay.
And then, so you find out like, oh, okay, those are Death Eaters. You guys are all safe. And then they go to school, right?
Yeah. And then at school, we're like, basically, to not cover every detail, as is the battle on these movies, we're introduced to like different schools, one being a girl school where Ron looks at their butts and goes, bloody hell. And then one being like a tough guy school.
Yeah.
And then we're introduced to, hey, there's this, the Triwizard Tournament, and you put your name in, you got to be over 18, and it'll choose you, and that's like a binding magic contract. And if you win, you will have eternal glory. Mm-hmm. Which sets up, basically, throughout this movie, I'm just going to go out of time now. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about Ron and Harry. Because
like their relationship? This
is a problem. And this is like the worst part of the movie, for sure.
Okay, I don't think it's a bad part. I think that it's character development explored. Because you have 7 books, and you can't tell me that the whole time that their friendship is going to be like hunky-dory.
No.
And I think that, and I'm just making my argument.
Okay.
I'm not like attacking you or anything.
Yes.
But
well, then why does it feel like this?
I think that they establish, especially in this movie early on, that like they're boys now, and I mean they're kind of typical boys. They want fame. They want to be popular. They want to be well liked, and they want to be cool in terms of
candy.
Yeah. And so this Triwizard thing, they're both like, man, it'd be so cool if we could do that. But they're both like 14. Uh-huh. And as we know, Harry gets chosen. Someone put his name into it. And it's a binding contract, and he has to compete. Even though it was not his choice and he did not put his name in it, that makes Ron mad. Because Ron thinks that Harry figured out a way to do it and didn't tell him or any of that stuff. And I think it's just classic immature jealousy.
Yeah.
They're 14. Of course he's going to get mad at him, and they're not going to communicate at all because they're 14-year-old boys and there's like no parental supervision there. So it's just going to happen. And they wrap it up within like 15 minutes.
It's more like a half hour.
Okay, that's not that long.
No, and I do appreciate that it's not that long. I think, and I don't know if this is the movie or the book, I just think it goes into that category for me where it's like this turmoil that they're having in their relationship, and then in like comedies or romantic comedies especially, where like someone breaks up or whatever, and you're just like, okay, I'm literally just looking at my watch waiting until they're done.
You know that they're gonna get over it, and I think that's your issue with it.
That's my issue. It's just like such a trope that it's annoying. I do like that they do patch it up pretty quickly, but like the jealousy with Hermione is also pretty annoying to me. And then
who's jealous about Hermione?
Like Ron is really jealous about how she's on a date with
Victor. Yeah.
And then
we haven't even gotten to Hermione's role yet.
Yeah, and I just think I don't know, because I agree with you. Like we can't just have 8 movies where they're like hunky dory friends. And we've had tension with Hermione a little bit, but it is kind of like, okay, what are we gonna Like how are we gonna make this interesting? But I just don't know. I don't think that was the way to do it.
Okay.
I'm sure there's another way. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but that's what I'd say. And one thing I do want to throw out as well is we have Philosopher's Stone. We have a kid adventure movie, like Indiana Jonesy. Then we have Chamber of Secrets, which it kind of leans on like noir. And then we have Azkaban, which is much more just like straight fantasy, I would say. And then this movie is like adventure,
action,
but teenage drama.
Yeah.
And I think that's where this movie doesn't connect with me. Not to say that teenage drama can't be good. I mean, or like middle school drama. I liked eighth grade, the movie. That movie was amazing. So, I mean, it's not like... But it's just like there's a disconnect where it's like this movie isn't
it's like,
that interesting.
I can't really read young adult.
Character-wise.
I can't really read young adult anymore because I don't enjoy it. For the exact reason that you're describing it. I've been through it and I'm not interested in that. Going through it again.
Yeah.
But there are people our age who love young adult, and that's great because there's some like incredible young adult stories.
Right.
So I think it kind of comes down to preference on this one.
Okay, I think that's a fair argument
because I don't think anything's poorly written for the book.
Yeah.
Movie, and let's get into Hermione a little bit.
Yes, let's do it.
She is either just mad or scared in this movie,
and very like hysterical.
Yeah, there is no in between.
I would say it actually feels like I don't know how the books are.
Yeah.
But it feels like a man wrote her character, not a woman.
It's
in this movie.
Yeah, it's weird.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to like.
I can't remember the book.
Be too
I can't remember
about
that specific part about the book. So I can't speak to that.
I will say though, they did do the thing because you had mentioned she gets into like animal rights, right? And in this movie, when Mad-Eye Moody's like controlling the spider, she's the one who speaks up, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's a little
like touching on that."
Yeah. That sparked in my head. I remembered, and I am a little bit more into the Harry Potter.
But yeah, it's like. I think it's not very well written for the movie. Like I said, can't really speak to the book because I can't totally remember. I do think at the same time, she is also a 14-year-old girl experiencing hormones.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think that's not always the excuse. That's really not okay for a lot of it. I think that she is way too hot-headed through most of the movie.
Yeah.
When she doesn't need to be. And I think that comes down to writing. Like that's how she was directed.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that was her choice or anything. So, yeah, it's interesting. I think that she does have some really good moments, like when she's at the Yule Ball and she's like having a really good time with Victor Crumb. All of the emotions that she goes through with that, I think, are really well done. How excited she looks, and then how she's devastated.
Yeah.
Because of Ron's reaction to it. So I think there are like good moments of it. I just think there's a lot more of her just like yelling at people because she's mad.
Right.
And it's like, we don't have to do this though. And I think it might come down a little bit to preference, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to be too black and white about it.
I think that's a great point. As far as like the look of this movie, you already touched on like the dynamics of the actual like color and stuff. Just to point out, I think we have much more in the school of Chris Columbus in terms of like the simplicity of the filming, a lot less dynamic camera movements. So it does make Azkaban even look like even more of an outlier.
Yeah.
Just wanted to point that out.
And I would say the next movies too. The next movies look dang good.
Okay, cool. I don't remember them.
They get dark visually.
Dark.
Okay, so to kind of get back into the story a little bit.
Well, then here's what I would say.
Okay.
Let's do Mad-Eye Moody, then we can hit the trials, and we're at the end.
That's what I was going to
do.
So
hit me.
Shut it. Yeah, so Mad-Eye Moody.
Did you talk about him?
At any point?
No, on the actors.
Oh, I didn't.
You didn't bring him up.
Let me look him up. Talk about him.
This is Donald Gleason's dad, if you aren't aware, people.
Oh, yeah. Who's in Harry Potter?
His first name, though, is... I just look up Gleason and you'll find it. Brendan. Is it Brendan or Brandon?
Brendan. Brendan Gleason, who is, not that long ago, Bill Hodges in Mr. Mercedes. Don't know if that show is done well or not. My parents seem to like it. We need to watch it.
It's a Stephen King adaptation.
So freaking good. And I think he is so well casted, even though I haven't seen it. He is also in The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, Paddington 2. Oh, is he in Paddington 2?
He's so good in
He
Paddington
is
2.
in this movie called Calvary that has a really good cover about him being
A priest,
a priest. That movie looks good. Have you seen anything about that movie?
I think I watched a trailer, and it was kind of like a movie I wanted to see, and then it just slipped through the cracks.
Oh.
Which, you know what? If Lauren hasn't seen Little Women, we could see Little Women tonight.
She has, but she said she would see it again.
Oh, okay.
So we can ask.
But we also don't have to go to the movies tonight. But I'm ready to pull the Little Women trigger.
He's in Edge of Tomorrow, I guess. Now we really need to see that movie.
I know. I can't believe we haven't seen it.
I know.
Got our boy Tom.
He's in The Raven, Safe House, The Cup, Albert Noms, The Guard.
He's in Bruges,
In
which you
Bruges.
talked about earlier.
Yes. Right there. He's in Beowulf, the game. He's also in Beowulf.
Good presentation, Jordan.
He's also in Troy. But is that the Brad Pitt one? Yep. That's Brad Pitt.
Is there any other?
He's in Cold Mountain, which Jack White's also in that movie. I just always like to remember that. I guess he's in Gangs of New York. I really need to rewatch that movie.
That makes sense.
I've only seen it once.
I know. I need to watch it again because I did not like it.
I
want to like it. It's
liked
Scorsese.
it, but I was just like, I liked it, period.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it.
Well, it was in that category of movie where it had been talked up to me so much that I was like, okay, this is going to be like a life-changing movie. And then I see Cameron Diaz and I'm like, oh, this is a little bit tough.
Of all people to have me watch that movie, my mom.
Interesting, yeah.
I don't know why.
But
maybe because
Daniel
Cameron Diaz
Day-Lewis
was in it.
Daniel Day-Lewis has a powerhouse performance, so
he's
there's
great.
no denying that.
Oh, he's in AI.
He is?
He's Lord Johnson.
He is Mad Eye Moody in that movie, basically. He's the guy that like owns the moon blimp that like captures the child at the beginning of the movie. And he
don't remember that
he
at all.
He runs the robot like circus area where the robots fight.
Whoa, I don't remember that.
Yeah, and I think he has like a prosthetic like eye or a prosthetic ear or something weird like that.
He's also in Mission Impossible 2.
He is?
Don't remember that.
Okay. I think he's like a reporting, like report to me, Tom.
Too bad he's not the not great one.
Okay. I think we covered Brendan.
Yeah,
Let's
we did.
get to Mad Eye Moody.
Okay, so Mad Eye Moody is the new Defense Against the Dark Arts.
I do want to tell
Arts?
Defense Against the Dark Arts.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Am I having a brain fart?
No, you're right.
Okay.
You're having a brain art. I do want to point out to the listener, because you don't get to see this. Jordan was just staring at her phone for Brendan Gleeson, and I think she got kind of stuck like a record, and that's why I had to kind of, because you were just staring and you weren't saying anything. And you weren't moving your thumbs either. I think you were just like, forgot what you were doing.
Just talking.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
So he shows up. He's a friend of Dumbledore's.
Well, yeah, he's also the new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher.
Yeah.
He is very in your face, hostile, but you find out quickly that he is a pastor, so he's kind of messed up from all the things he's seen.
And he's
all the
doing a
people he's sent to
lot, but I'm
Azkaban.
liking it. It's
I am
fun
into
stuff.
it. And he's drinking out of a flask a lot.
Yeah.
And he's got a cool eye, and he's got a fake leg, and he's got this cool staff that stays propped up when he's not near it. Mm-hmm. Have you noticed that? That's a cool touch that they do.
I actually didn't notice that.
It stays propped up. I can't tell if it's magic. I just assume it's magic, or if it's him sticking it into the ground. I'm choosing magic. Okay, so do you want to go to the first class that he teaches? Because that's pretty important.
Yeah.
So that class, we learned the 3 unforgivable curses: the Cruciatus curse, the Imperial curse, the killing curse.
10 points for Hufflepuff. You got it.
Thanks. And as we see, he demonstrates the Cruciatus curse on in front of Neville. Mm-hmm. And that is a big thing, because you find out later that David Tennant's character tortured Neville's parents so terribly with the Cruciatus curse, he drove them insane.
Wait, do they clarify that in the movie? Or
They
is
do
that
in
a
the
book
movie.
thing?
They do in the
Okay,
movie.
so that kind of, because you said it and it kind of went over my head. That
They mentioned that in the movie.
I just don't remember them saying it in the
No,
movie.
because remember the flashback scene, and he like gets up, and they're like, I think they say using the Cruciatus curse on something Longbottom. I think is what they say.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I know in the books his parents were like maybe in the movie they said they were killed, but in the book they are still alive, but they're in the insane asylum because they're gone. They're like gone pretty much.
That's sad.
That's why he's raised by his grandma.
Sad.
So that was such a crazy moment. I think that Matthew Lewis does well.
Wait, so okay, hang on. You told me Neville is he born on the same day as Harry?
Huh?
And so is this implying that he who shall not be named knew about both, and so he sent David Tennant to take care of Neville's parents, and then he went to take care of Harry Potter?
I don't know specifically if that's what he did, but he consciously chose Harry to pursue Harry.
Okay.
Which they get into in the next movie heavily.
Okay.
And even more heavily in the books. And whatever they don't cover in the movie, we will cover on the podcast, story-wise.
But so it's not like a Herod thing where he's like, kill all the firstborns. Like, this guy was born on this day.
No, because the 5th movie, they find out that there was a prophecy that was told that a child born on the 31st day of January, and I'm paraphrasing, will usurp your power. Or, or will like stop you.
So the implication is that he sent David to take care of this one that was born on that same day as well.
Yeah.
That is pretty freaking cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. And that makes me excited about stories.
Yeah, I know, Micah.
That is good.
Start listening.
That is cool. Okay,
Do something.
keep going.
And then, of course, as I've already said, Avada Kedavra, the killing curse, which we saw at the beginning of the movie. You always know that someone's using it because of a green flash.
Oh, okay.
That's why it's very important at the end of this movie when He Who Shall Not Be Named and Harry are dueling off. His is green, He Who Shall Not Be Named, and Harry's is red. Because Harry is always trying to use the Expelliarmus curse or charm, which would just get his wand to go away. Like would throw his wand away. He's never like doing a killing blow.
Yeah.
Because he's the good guy.
Cool.
When
okay. I
the
didn't
other
know
guy's
that. That's
doing
cool.
the bad thing.
Yeah.
So let's fast track to the first
first
challenge. Yeah.
Mad-Eye Moody lets him know it's dragons. There's a bunch of stuff with
And
like
Hagrid.
and his giant that he's in love with now.
So cute. I love it.
Cute. Fun. But we don't have time
You get
to
a mention
talk about
again of Ron's brother Charlie, who works with dragons in Romania. He brought the dragons over. Just a fun little nugget.
Yeah. And then we get into the trial. Okay, the other people pass, and it doesn't even show us them because they're, as they said in the...
Oh, we didn't even look up the Rita Skeeter lady. She's in Sleepy Hollow.
Yes, she's the newspaper person.
The Daily Prophet.
And she's pretty fun. She's like
She plays a stereotype.
Helena Bonham Carter type.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with what she does.
Yeah.
There's a couple of parts where you're like, okay, settle down there.
Yeah.
But I think for the most part it works. Then they have this huge set where Harry fights the dragon. And that's a set, okay? They actually built that set with the rocks and stuff. And while we were sitting there watching it, I was like, this looks amazing.
Yeah.
And when he fights the dragon to get that egg, the dragon effects they still hold up today.
Yeah, they're good.
This scene is like the best scene in the movie.
And that's when you and I were
so
like,
cool.
With this movie, it looks the worst in terms of effect, and I would say cinematography. However,
whoa, shots fired, Roger Pratt.
Much said that already. But we did make the note of whatever they did spend their time on, it looks dang good.
Yeah, because like this whole sequence looks incredible, and then all the Voldemort stuff, He Who Shall Not Be Named, stuff at the end looks really good.
Yeah. So the stuff that matters looks really good.
And I like that moment when he calls his because he talks to Mad-Eye Moody, and he's like, hey. I can't fly, but that's my strong suit. And he's like, well, you have a wand. Mm-hmm. And you're like, okay. And then they don't show anything. And then when he's there, he calls his firebolt.
And like the cool thing with this Triwizard thing, it's like basically you're just trying to survive.
Yeah.
To finish this. And that's about it. Like there aren't really rules, you know what I mean? So it's like, sure, he can't enter, like say like he can only enter with his wand. After that, he can do anything he wants.
Yeah, which is cool.
All of them are cool because they are playing to everyone's strengths, and they're all like vague riddles of trying to like use your strengths for it. So he gets his firebolt, he gets the egg, dragon goes bye-bye.
Yeah. Cool sequence.
Takes him a while in the movie to find out what the egg is. The whole thing is this Triwizard Cup is going on the entire school year. This isn't for a week. This is the
Very
entire
cool.
school year. So like after he gets the egg, weeks later, we cover stuff in the like story stuff, and he has still not figured that out. Then he figures it out. We're not going to get into the specifics.
No,
he figures it out.
But one thing I want to say is that is cool, and it goes against the like teenage drama stereotype. Is Cedric Diggory originally is like making fun of Harry, and then Harry's like he warns him about the dragons, and then from then on, Cedric is like helps him out and stuff. And there's no like at the end of the movie, I couldn't remember what happened, and when he stopped. And helped Cedric, I kind of thought he was going to like push him down and run to the goblet, but he's just like, okay, let's go. And you grab it first because you got it. He's just like a good guy.
Yeah. And I think, he's a good guy.
That.
And I think they both come to this realization of like, yeah, they want glory, but they both represent Hogwarts.
Yeah.
So you want Hogwarts to win. You know what I mean? Because these schools are competing, representing their other schools as well. Yeah, so he figures out what the egg is. He needs to hold his breath underwater for an hour to retrieve something that's been taken from him.
And Neville helps him, which is cool.
Helps, which is great. Neville is super into herbology. He gives him gillyweed to eat, gives him these cool gills and fins.
Like that. Very goofy thing where he flies up in the air and is like, Yahoo!
Yeah, pretty weird, but it's going to happen.
And, he does this challenge. He helps with another
Not only does he get Ron back, he gets Fleur's sister back.
Yeah, because they've been tied at the bottom.
Didn't finish hers, which means her sister would have stayed down there.
And I am just, I know that you were like, Micah, but it's just kind of crazy that you're like, wow, they just let this happen at the school. These kids
they say people have died for this.
Yeah, and you're like, wow, their innocent bystander friends might die because this school sucks. And the Triwizard stuff sucks. But it looks cool, and it provides stakes. So I understand story-wise.
Throw that opinion away.
But yeah, I mean, anyway.
What are you going to do? You're going to put kids in danger.
What are you going to do? You going to not put the kids in danger? I mean, come on. It's a movie.
Oh, Maroon.
Anyway, so... they do trial 2 and it goes well, and then they go to trial 3 and it's the maze.
Wait. Okay. Important part about to happen. So Harry not only does well, he gets second place because of his heroic achievements.
Oh, yeah.
And then Barty Crouch, Hitler mustache guy, is congratulating Harry, and Maddie comes up to him and he has some weird tics that he does, and Barty is like, I know this person. Like, he gives them that look of, I know you. And then pretty much the next scene later, they find Barty Crouch dead. And Harry immediately goes to Dumbledore, where Dumbledore is trying to get the match, what's the word? Canceled. But the minister is like, I will not let this happen. This is too embarrassing if we cancel it.
Yeah.
So... Harry shows up and Dumbledore's like, wait here, Harry, I'll be back with you. So Harry's in Dumbledore's office. He finds his pensieve and he falls into a memory. And the memory is a trial where Igor Karkaroff, who is the headmaster of Durmstrang, and is on trial for being a Death Eater. And he has spent time in Azkaban. I almost said Alcatraz.
Yes. He did do a stint in Alcatraz. Because that does exist in this universe. So
pretty much they're like, give us names and we will let you out. And he starts giving some names. They're not really working. And then he finally says Barty Crouch. And who is questioning him but Barty Crouch, Hitler mustache guy. But he doesn't just mean Barty Crouch. He says Barty Crouch Jr. And then the camera zooms up to David Tennant getting up to leave. And it's him who's Barty Crouch Jr. It's just never been said yet, I think. And he is arrested. Barty Crouch arrests and convicts his own son.
Oh, wow.
And you see the little tick that he does with poking his tongue out of his mouth.
Yes.
And you're kind of like, what's going on here? This is super weird. And then Dumbledore is... Harry comes back out of the memory, and Dumbledore is like explaining the pensieve, explaining memories, explaining letting things go.
And I like that in this movie, Dumbledore's not really on top. I mean, he's not really on top of anything in any of the movies, but he of winkingly knows what's going on. And in this movie, he's confused and he's kind of upset about it. And it all starts
it's kind of
cool
with Harry being chosen.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
he like breaks in and like shakes him. Yeah.
Yeah, the one person he's supposed to protect the most.
Yeah.
And I think it's soon after that, I believe, Harry finds Karkaroff and Snape together, and Karkaroff is showing him his Death Eater tattoo.
Yeah.
And he leaves, and Snape accuses Harry of stealing stuff to make Polyjuice Potion with. Mm-hmm. So again, there's another mention of Polyjuice Potion at one point. And then we can go to the next trial.
Okay, so last trial, there's been a fun cannonball bit with the groundskeeper Willie
Argulus
from
Filch.
The Simpsons. And he
Who?
Groundskeeper Willie from The Simpsons.
Okay.
And he keeps on, every time they're about to start the trial, Dumbledore's like announcing, and he'll be like 3, 2, or he'll just say like, and then the cannonball will go off, and it just goes off every time.
Yeah, that's great.
So they go into the maze,
and it's
dun
dun dun dun dun dun. Dun 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 dun.
Yeah, Jordan was singing along to the band that plays outside of the maze, and I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't believe it. So they do the maze, and it's driving them all crazy and all that stuff. And then basically they get to the Goblet of Fire, him and Cedric Diggory. And they're like, let's grab it together.
Okay. Yeah.
They grab it together, and they find out it's a portkey.
Takes them to a graveyard.
A nice twist that it's a portkey.
Yes.
And who do we find at the graveyard but Mr. Peter Pettigrew? And he pops out. They kind of subdue Harry, and then they do like a witch's cauldron.
Dude, you're skipping over a big thing.
Because I want to eat.
No,
I'm hungry.
No. Peter Pettigrew comes out, and they're both like, huh? And he's holding something, and the something says, kill the bystander. And Peter Pettigrew kills.
I thought He Who Shall Not Be Named did that.
No, because he can't. He doesn't want or anything. So Peter Pettigrew killed.
Because I thought he did that after he was created, and then he shoots him like first thing.
He does kill him though, because of later on.
Yeah, it's not Peter Pettigrew. That's why I skipped it, because it didn't happen. And I have now won 10 points to Gryffindor. So anyway,
I just felt like it was really quick.
They basically do a witch's cauldron, and he drops the little baby, He Who Shall Not Be Named, into the cauldron, and it's really gross looking.
I think he does kill him, but he uses Voldemort's wand.
I don't think so.
I'm gonna need to look this back up because I don't get it. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
And then they rip open Harry, and there's blood everywhere, and he puts it into the cauldron, and then who shows up? But the one and only, the star of The English Patient, the star of the Grand Budapest Hotel himself, Ray
Schindler's
Fiennes.
List, right?
No, that is Liam Neeson.
And another guy that looks like Ray Fiennes.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't even look up Ray Fiennes.
We can do it next episode.
I know, I just want to look up that other guy in Schindler's List now.
And he already, you're just like, yes, he is doing all the right acting choices. The makeup's super cool. His nose is flat. Which I'm not sure how they do that.
Ray Fiennes is in Schindler's List. Hello.
Oh, he is?
Thank you. And the other guy that looks like him is... Just keep talking.
Okay. Anyway, He Who Shall Not Be Named. All his acting choices are great. He's not going too maniacal, but he's still like very commanding. But he's got kind of a like a theatery energy to him, where he's kind of a little frenetic, and I like that. And it's the showdown. You've been waiting, and this is why I think this
You've been
movie,
waiting, but you didn't think it would happen this soon.
Yeah, I like, because it's been 3 movies of him. Well, I guess Azkaban, it's not really about He Who Shall Not Be Named
but
too much.
They're starting to feel very episodic.
Yeah, and then this one's like, oh, whoa, okay, so he's
Remember?
here. This
Yeah.
is crazy. So I like that. I like that story element of it. There's some nice monologuing, and then they battle off with their wands. I love the visuals of the wands and how it like has like a lava looking effect where they're like sparking off. It looks so cool.
And do you want to know why his parents appeared?
Sure.
Okay. So when that's happening, there's a word for it. Don't remember the word. And
Patreon.com/Michael McCaw.
That's the word. So
please sign up.
The spirits come out of the wand that has recently killed people. And I'm explaining it very poorly, but there's a whole word for this. So the last people that He Who Shall Not Be Named killed were Cedric, the old man from the beginning of the movie, and Harry's parents.
Okay.
And that's why they show up.
That's That's kind of like a too much for me.
Really? I think it's cool.
It's just kind of like a...
His parents literally give him the strength to go on.
No, I get that, but I mean, I don't know. I guess it's explaining...
I guess if I remember the word, maybe you like it.
No. I think that for me, that's like kind of like defining something that doesn't need to be defined. Not your fault, but like just like JK. But I understand why she did it. But it's kind of like there's a lot of stuff like that in Star Wars where people are like, well, actually, or Marvel even, where they're like, actually, it's because of this and this and this. And I'm like, I don't really care. It's just how the story goes. I just took it at their word, you know.
You suck.
But I wasn't trying
Just
to make
kidding.
you feel bad. I'm just trying to talk about that element of the movie. And then Harry's good to go. He gets back.
I like to say, love Ray Fiennes' wand usage. Like how he still uses one hand, but he's using his other hand, and he's just very theatrical about the whole thing.
I love that.
Because if you
he's great.
think about it, how this was shot before any effects and how weird it looks for two people to point sticks at each other and scream. I think that he is doing a very believable.
They both are.
Oh no, both are. But I'm giving it to Ray Fiennes on this one.
Oh yeah,
a really believable pointing a stick at someone and screaming acting moment.
And then they get back and they explain everything, of course. And then there's that great moment where he brings
Cedric back. Did you say that?
Yeah. I was gonna say actually, there's a great moment where he brings Cedric back, and everyone is like so distraught about it.
It is so heavy,
and that hit pretty hard for me.
Me too.
Because that's sad.
Yeah.
That's sad.
I mean, this is supposed to be a happy. I mean, it's stressful, but it's supposed to be like a celebrated event.
A child died,
and they both come back, and they're both, like Harry has the goblet, and his dad's just like, "Oh, my boy's back!" Like, I'm so proud.
Yeah, everyone's
of
so excited, and then they realize what's actually happening. Mm-hmm. And then we find out that Mad Eye Moody was actually David Tennant. Using the polyjuice potion, that's what he was drinking, and then Mad Eye Moody's still there.
He was making sure that Harry was getting through each round, so that he could get to the graveyard.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah.
I know. I think that there is a. No, never mind. But then Mad Eye Moody is there, and is he like the Defense Against the Arts teacher in the next movie?
I don't think so.
Ugh, they just can't land a teacher for that.
Umbridge.
Umbridge is in the next one.
What I think is done well in the story writing, because you have a pretty huge climax, huge twist. He'll shall not be named is back. Yeah. That's huge. So once Harry comes back, you're like, oh, now we have to sit in this. But the movie's still got like 15 to 20 more minutes. And it doesn't feel that long to me.
I don't think it was that. I think it was like 7 or 8 minutes. I mean, it
was
you sure? Fast.
The Mad Eye Moody scene's a little long. It's like they spend a good amount of time doing it.
Yeah.
So that, like, sometimes I feel like if the story's not written super well, that would feel
tacked on,
boring. It would just be like, oh, can we just get to this movie, please? But I don't feel that way.
I don't either.
And then we even have a moment where Dumbledore's talking to Harry again, which even that doesn't feel. It feels like you have to tie that bow. You can't like end the movie without.
If you're wrapping a present, are you
having
not going to put a bow on it?
So he tells Harry, I'm sorry that this happened to you, pretty much, but you will always have friends, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then you have to wrap up the like Ron, Hermione, and Harry bow. And I think Hermione has a really great moment where she was like, so is everything going to change? And Harry just says yes. And then the movie ends.
Yep. And that's the end of the movie, as you just said. And that's the end of our podcast, as I just said. Right?
Yeah. I think you're done talking about it.
I had to go to the bathroom really bad.
Whatever.
See you next week, guys.
Are you serious? Did you already pause it?
No.
Oh my gosh. Okay, fine. Thanks for listening.